The Fearless Podcast, in a time of deceit, telling the truth, is a revolutionary act. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Fearless Podcast. This is episode 45.
Episode 45. Good to be here.
It's good to be alive.
Yeah. We
Episode
tried
45.
to film a podcast yesterday, and there was technical difficulties
Yes.
for over 2.5 hours, and then a good solid hour today. It's one of those things that I used to follow a guy named Mike Boyd on YouTube, and every time he was trying to learn something new that was very difficult, or a problem that would pop up in his learning experience, these people have done lots of studies, and they've actually figured out that actually taking breaks from learning, so you learn for a certain amount of time, and then when you get frustrated on it, take a break and totally do not think about the problem and come back at a later date. And every time I've ever done that, it always seems to
Yep.
I'll come back the next day or a couple hours later, and I'll be able to figure more of the problem out.
It's your reticular activating system.
Yeah.
And it's the part of your brain that problem solves. And so when you're not focusing on it, it's running in the background.
Yep.
And you're fixing the problem. And so
Exactly.
we got it fixed.
Hopefully.
For the third or fourth time now. And, y'all, the solution is buying another $500 piece of equipment. And we have literally spent thousands of dollars between the cameras and the mics and the stream deck and the focus.
There's always one more thing,
there's always one more thing, and it's always better. And it gets frustrating. But if you guys have any all-in-one solutions for under $300,
sure,
we're game. We're always
or if you just have an extra,
or if you're just itching to send us one for free,
or if you got one just laying around and you want to sell one, a little bit cheaper than $600
discount.
If you got a couple laying around or something like that.
$399.
Because I know a lot of audio guys out there, they got,
that's true.
a couple of them, and they're like, oh, I'm not using this one, So hit us up at countrytexasboys@gmail.com if you got one, a soundboard.
Yeah, so let's jump into it. Around the farm, what's going on around the farm?
Around the farm, we got about 6 inches of rain in 2.5 days.
We got 6 inches of rain the first day. I think we got 9. Okay, so here's what happened, y'all.
Seriously?
Yeah, here's what happened. So I purposefully put out a garbage can, because a plastic garbage can. I'm like, I want to know how. I knew we were going to get a lot.
Massive
they were projecting
dumps.
3.
Yeah.
And the first day when I left, I measured and it was 6. And I was like, whoa. So I purposely left it there. And then I came home. Y'all were cleaning out a truck or something. And of course, you dumped out the trash can to use it as a trash can. I mean, first off, who uses the trash can as a trash can?
Idiot would do that. Such an idiot.
You moron. So there's that. But no, so I was curious. All the swales were full though. So I know we definitely got, I would say we probably got at least 9 inches, and the pond hit the overflow.
Yeah.
So the pond came up like 2 feet.
At least 2 feet.
So, so we've gotten a lot of rain.
Insane amount of rain.
And then a couple of things that I've been working on is we converted our mitt lighter garden system into a blueberry fig tree patch, because it's like automated water as well. In addition to that, I've intensively planted comfrey in there. So we're growing comfrey in there. And then today I added one of the ever-bearing strawberry varieties. So I really want the ground cover in there to be basically comfrey and strawberries in between the blueberries and the fig trees. And
awesome.
We've been getting tons of rain. And when we don't, every day I turn the irrigation on. So the blueberries are loaded and packed out. So
also around the farm, you want to talk about the elephant in the room?
Which one?
The eclipse happened on Monday. That was
Yeah, well,
Monday?
this is kind of going to be our main topic.
Okay. Okay.
So if you want to, we could
Just
talk about
kinda
it in
talk.
general,
Okay. Okay.
because it's part of our whole
Sure.
topic.
Yeah. That happened before all the rain. We thought I think that was a lot of people thought that we were gonna get rained out for the
Yeah.
eclipse, and that would have really stunk because now knowing how incredible it was actually.
It would have really stunk for all the people that flew from
Oh
all
my
across the world to come view
goodness.
it. We had a lot of visitors,
A
y'all.
lot.
And
A lot.
well, we personally, we didn't have any visitors,
No,
but
no.
we kind of like it that
awesome.
way. But our state had lots of
Yeah.
international travelers that came here legally, surprisingly, and left. So that was cool.
That's nice. That must, yeah.
But interesting dynamics going on here. But so we got that going on. And then we've had our fences tested because Beans has decided that she wants to wander the neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's been possessing her and Danny Pig to like all of a sudden. I guess since we took all of her babies away from her, now she's just like,
She just wants to explore.
yeah,
So
explore.
she'll test the fence and scratch the fence until
We
it
feed her
pops.
so much feed
I
and
know,
everything.
it's
you know?
ridiculous. But so all of the fences are triple fortified. So right
Is
now,
she back in?
yeah, she's in the front orchard. Danny's in the back orchard for the time being.
Yeah, until
And,
he finds a hole or makes a hole.
So
Stinker.
I'm pretty sure she's still there.
Hopefully.
I thought she was there 3 or 4 times.
If she keeps getting out, we're going to go ahead and run a little strand of electric wire at the bottom of it, possibly.
I think we're good. I mean,
we're good.
we have hog panel, and as long as there's the proper T-post and it's attached properly.
We converted the one food forest fence. It was just normally a normal fence,
Right.
And the T-posts were on the wrong side of the hog panel. So it was a weak part in the fence, but they've literally been in there we've had pigs running in there for several years now.
Yeah.
And they've never breached it until now.
Yeah, and
which
that's
is
the
so
beauty.
weird.
That's the beauty of your infrastructure,
Yeah.
is you do it once, you have it. We originally set that fencing up to keep certain animals out, to keep chickens and ducks in. And so you just have to modify it, and you have to maintain stuff.
Yeah.
So that's all part of that process.
Yep.
And I'm gonna lower my chair a little bit.
There you go.
There we are.
You go.
And that's all part of the process. So Beans has been helping us find the weak parts in our fencing. So we've been fixing that.
Yeah.
And that's been a lot of fun.
And then James and Buddy have been spreading lots of manure and the lime on the properties.
The rabbit
so that's
manure.
great. Yeah.
Yep.
We were able to actually borrow our neighbor's sprayer, and I was able to call around because that was really putting us in a pickle. And yeah, so at least we were able to borrow one. It was actually a really nice one. It can hold up to like 200 gallons or so. Come to find out, we were thinking about buying one, but then when I researched them, these bigger sprayers are $5,000-$6,000. So it was very nice that we could
really
borrow
cool
it
sprayer
from a
hooked
neighbor.
up to the PTO.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
I offered my neighbor, I was like, hey, I'll rent it from you because I'm just looking for, I just need a sprayer, or I'm going to be charged like hundreds of more dollars to pay the company that we bought all the manure from to come out and spray it on our fields.
And, it's bioactive only for if you don't keep a bubbler in there and agitate it. It's only good for 48 hours. So we were kind of up against a pinch.
Yeah.
But we got it all sprayed. So that's cool. And so that should definitely help with the hay harvest.
Definitely.
This fall. We still have a lot of
especially with all this stinking rain too. I mean, it's going to be insane.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
Somebody reached out and asked us if we were doing sweet potato slips this year. I said no.
Sadly,
it's just too wet, and we're kind of too busy to do that this year. So we didn't have those available this year. But
if we would have planted potatoes now, they would be rotten.
They would be super rotten. It's just and I'm not going to complain. We've just an awesome
not complaining about the rain at all.
And
big answer to prayer.
Yeah, it's been great. So that's pretty much for Around the Farm this week.
Yeah, big news. James did sell his truck, so that was good.
Oh yeah,
yep. Then
we sold the truck, and then tomorrow the permaculture consultant William is coming. He's buying our smaller stock trailer.
Yeah, a little bumper pull.
Yeah, so that
Yep.
was awesome. He came to get the last 2 pigs, and I told him about the stock trailer. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm looking for a stock trailer."
Yeah.
And it's got brand new tires. And I was like, I just mentioned to the boys, I'm like,
Mhm.
we should sell this because I mean, this thing is in absolute pristine condition, and it's
Yep.
a shame for it to just sit
Sit.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because we went out and
brand
we
new
bought
tires.
a used gooseneck cattle trailer because since we've been hauling really big cows around and several at a time, um, you know, we just needed something more beefy and that would haul better with our truck. And now since we got the bigger truck and since it has that B&W gooseneck hitch in it, it rides better and everything like that.
Speaking
So
of beefy trailers, we still have a quarter of
I like
beef
the segue.
available. So
There you
if
go.
you are in the Northeast Texas area,
And you are looking for some grade A
ooh,
ground beef
grade A
plus.
Angus, black Angus that was grass fed and grain supplemented to
Mhm.
get that fat content. We just got ours back, and I'm telling you, the quality is off of the
The
charts.
marble
The
is
marbling is
insane.
incredible.
It's insane.
And
It's
me and Matt
insane.
have 2
Yeah.
ribeyes and a New York strip thawing right
Mhm.
now. So when we're done, we're gonna be eating
We're gonna
ribeyes
talk
in
a
the
little
air
bit
fryer.
more of something that I actually been hearing a lot about.
Meat hack.
A little meat hack
Okay, okay.
in the health update,
Well, it
health
just
check.
so happens that we're segueing into health check.
Okay, there you go. So meat hack is, and it's been kind of going around, and I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it. I'm pretty sure Sean Baker was the first guy that I saw it on, or maybe another carnivore channel. I forget, but people are taking some type of normally like a pot, and then they'll put several sticks of butter in it. Enough butter that you could submerge a steak in it. And then you take
Well,
your
that's a lot of
steak.
butter, bro.
No, it's a lot of butter. It's quite a bit. And you submerge your steak in the butter. And then you put this thing in the oven for like an hour.
Mm,
Like slow,
mm,
low and slow.
low and slow.
And then you pull this thing out. I forget what temperature it is. I have to do some more research on it. And then you get a searing hot skillet, cast iron skillet, and then you sear it on both sides.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
And
Sear
there
the
people are
edges.
saying it's insane because and then while you're searing it, you pour a little bit of the butter on top of it too.
Ooh.
They say it's just out of this world. And if y'all are wondering what's up with the green on my arm, that's grass stains. I was mowing and changing out lawnmower blades. So and I was like,
And we were supplementing. We dumped about 100 pounds of
"Oh,
clover and
at least."
grass in
So
the
what the deal was is with my lawnmower, I know this is health check. This should have been on the farm thing, but I was able to change out my blades to a bagger blade actually. So it has a little bit more
up.
air friction or whatever
Mhm.
you would say, and it bags the grass so much better. But anyway, health check, good, no sickness, no sinus stuff happening. Um, I think mainly with the pollen, it ebbs and flows. Normally in the spring, like
Mhm.
I normally always get a little bit clogged up in the morning sometimes in my nose. Um, but other than that, really, really good. Been doing really good with working out. Had a little bit of an accident yesterday. Had a pretty exciting thing was is I was putting up my weights the one day and I was doing 75-pound curls, and I've been doing that for probably 5 or 6 months now, and doing up to 20 to 25 reps, and on those, and then I was like, well, the heaviest thing I have to put on my Olympic bar is um, I can get it up to like 125. So I was like, wonder if I could actually curl that or
So
not.
you're doing a bar curl, not 75-pound dumbbells.
No, no,
Okay.
bar
Gotcha,
curl
gotcha.
with the
Okay.
Olympic bar.
Cool.
Yep, yep.
Mhm.
And, I was like, "Let me just try it out, and if anything feels goofy, I'll stop or anything." So I was able to do it. The first day, I was able to get 6 out, and I was super excited because I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great." And the next day, because I was like at the end of the workout when I tried that out, and then the next day was my actual work, like heavy workout, and I started doing it. And first rep did good. I went up to 6, went up to 8. What I've actually been doing, which is very interesting to me with my workout, is and I don't, it must be something with the human body or something, or at least with my body, is that if I mix up, so say I do push-ups, then I do my curls, then I do like my variation of a bench press, right? In that order. But I found out that I get even more hypertrophy if I mix it up. So if I'll start out with doing curls and then go into doing push-ups, or do a set of push-ups, then go do a set of curls, then do a set of push-ups, because then it's like I'm using my triceps
Push pull.
and then my
Mhm.
bicep. I've actually seen a good amount of success in that, more hypertrophy. So yeah, it's very interesting. But back to what I was talking about. So I got on to my second set of 125, and I did have in my wrist, I did have like a slight, just like click noise,
A twing.
just a twing, and I tweaked it just a little bit. And I've been working out for a couple years now, and all the guys that I've heard, they said the second anything goofy like that happens, stop. And it was upper body day, so you kind of do everything with your hands. So I was like, well, I'm gonna play it smart and not try to
Good
lift
job.
anything else. And I went on Amazon and ordered some wrist straps, because I'm like, probably when you get over 100 pounds, you probably
Sure.
should be wearing wrist straps. Anything lower than that, you're fine. But
Yeah, your biceps are way stronger than your wrist.
yeah,
And there's lots of ways to strengthen your wrist. And I mean,
sure.
in a perfect world, you would want to not use them. But if you're, when you're select training, I think it makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense. It's better to do it and not hurt yourself.
Not hurt yourself, yeah. Because I was trying to make sure that my wrists were straight, not having it, do any goofy stuff or anything like that. But yeah, just when you get into higher weights and stuff like that. So
Yep.
little bit of a it was a little bit sad, but it's fine, nothing major or anything like that. But also exciting at the same time,
Yeah,
being
it's
able
great.
to move some heavier weights around.
Very good. Very good.
So what's up with your health check?
Well, my health check's been good.
Mhm.
I've been using the Neil Med to combat whether it's allergies or some other genetically derived version of something else. And I'm doing great. Everything's
That's good.
good. Been feeling good. I'm going back to OMAD, red meat. So
Mhm.
I haven't eaten. I ate a half a steak. I ate a half of a New York strip about 2 o'clock, and then we're
Okay.
gonna have these monster prime ribs when we're done,
Mhm.
and I'm super ready for that.
I'm
So
super excited.
yeah,
It's
it's gonna
gonna
be
be
great.
great.
But yeah, everything's going good.
Good.
Still doing my hangs, shoulders doing okay. It gets frustrating because I'm trying to use it as normal, and the power is
Mm,
just not there. Like
mhm.
when I was fixing this fence,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be able to even move again, so
Mm.
I'm not going to complain. And hopefully I do want to get it to where I can train, maybe start doing back or something. I still kind of really feel like, just because of so much of the labrum's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can't use one arm basically to do like symmetrical stuff, I
It's
don't really know how I'm
tricky.
going to do it yet,
Yeah.
but we're going to figure that all out. It's try, fail, adjust. That's what we do.
There you go.
That's how you get ahead in life. So, yeah, so that is health check.
There you go.
I think that's it. I don't have anything else to add there. We could jump right in to verse of the day. The verse of the day is going to correlate with our main topic. And so let's get into the verse of the day. The verse of the day today comes from Matthew 12:39. And the camera is there. We go. Now
Cameras in the
But
way.
he answered and said unto them, so this is Christ speaking, an evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. Now, for context, let's read the next verse, the next couple verses. For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Okay. So that is the verse of the day. It's going to be part of the main topic. So I will be circling back to that. So that's the verse of the day. Another sponsor of today's podcast is foodforestnursery.com. The Texas Boys 10 promo code will get you 10% off. They sell awesome bare root fruit trees. We've been doing some food forest updates.
Yeah.
So you got to see a little bit what's going on here. The reason we don't do more is because nobody watches them. So we would gladly do hundreds of them. But for whatever weird reason that TheTube and their algorithms, I don't know if it's Al Gore's fault. I don't know whose fault it is, but nobody watches them, or we would do more of them. But I'm still going to do
there
them.
is like a loyal 500 people that watch pretty much anything we put up.
Thanks guys. Yeah, can you do more of these? Well, yeah, if people would watch them, we would do more of them. But yeah, foodforestnursery.com, excellent quality products. Ship bare root. Now's the time to order. Now's the time to plant. So go on over to foodforestnursery.com. The Texas Boys 10 will get you 10% off. Hey, thanks all y'all that have already made purchases. We appreciate it.
Definitely.
It supports the show.
Yep.
This is value for value. We don't want to just do this because we love to do it, but we do love to do it. And do you want to just jump right into kind of like the main topic?
Yeah, let's talk about the main topic, big elephant in the room.
Okay.
And
so
just our experience with everything else. So do we want to talk about our experience first, or no? What do you want to do?
Well, I think what I'm going to do, so my buddy Rip, who's a great friend of mine, he helps me out with all this AV stuff.
Yeah.
And he's been on the channel.
Stuff. Yeah.
Mike Build a Tiny House. So if you're an OG and you're
OG,
watching,
Mike.
Rip is Mike. And and I text Rip the day. It was either the day of the eclipse or the day after the eclipse. And it's another reason why I wanted to do this podcast. And we were trying to do it yesterday. I'm like, man, by the time we get this audio thing fixed, it's going to be irrelevant. But, but we got it done. That's what we do. So we try, fail, adjust.
Yep.
That's how we succeed around here. So so I text Mike and I said, heard any good conspiracies that are going to happen today? So this was on the day of the eclipse. He responded, let's see, nukes, EMP making the land desolate, National Guard deployed, FEMA camps, CERN and NASA messing with space and time. Supposed to be a Jewish feast day today. It's the sign of Jonah. X marks the spot. And the U.S. outline looks like a giant whale. Mike sums it up in typical Mike fashion. So basically Y2K. And this is why this was such a great topic, because I heard previously, it was on a YouTube short, and it was some kind of like pastor prophecy guy on some big stage at some big mega church. And he kind of had an Australian accent, and he was breaking down this eclipse thing of in 2017, the eclipse. And of course, it's always like super America centric. And this is what cracks me up, like with all this pre-trib stuff. It's like exclusively Americana doctrine. But so he was saying how in 2017, the eclipse went this way, and it went through 7 cities called Salem, which means peace. And then this time, this eclipse was going to go through seven cities called Nineveh, which wasn't true. It passed through 2 cities called Nineveh, and then it was near to like 5 other, but they got to mess with it to make their hokey pokey work. And I'm just like, and then he said, Nineveh 7 times is relevant because there will be no sign given to you except for the prophet Jonas, which is why I wanted to read this verse of the day for a threefold reason. First off, so much of Americana and exclusively prophecy is really, really incredibly fake, and a lot of wresting of scriptures, a lot of twisting and wresting of facts, like this whole thing of, and then the other thing is where these two, where the 17 eclipse path and the this year's eclipse past, there's a city and I forget what the bullseye was. It's so irrelevant. And my main point is, and you hear this stuff a lot, and there's a lot of this Hebrew root stuff going on, and we need to get back to our Hebrew roots, and we really need to understand the New Testament from the Old Testament. When the New Covenant, it says the exact opposite. Like, we understand the scriptures now in the New Covenant exclusively. We understand the Old Testament now through the New Covenant, because this New Covenant was a mystery. It's called the mystery of godliness, right? And Paul talks about it. Everybody talks about it over and over again. That's why people hate on Paul too, by the way. But all of this conspiratardia, right? And then all of this like false doctrine, just really weird, spurious, coincidental Americana manipulation. And it was and like, there'll be no sign giving you the prophet. That's talking about Christ. Like, and it's so, I get really mad because you got this idiot and he's dressed in a suit and everything, and he's got an Australian or English accent, and he sounds really smart, and he's saying something totally stupid. And there was several people. I know CBN had a guy, and he was making all the same talking points, and he had an English accent. And I think it was Justin Peters, or maybe there's another channel about text. I forget the channel. I don't want to butcher it, but that were playing these guys, and they were using these same stupid talking points that are like completely, oh yeah, the eclipse entered the US at Eagle Pass. It's American centric. Like, well, the eclipse first happened in Mexico. You know what I mean? It's just so weird. And then people are like, oh yeah, and then there was all this other stuff like the eclipse is going to be this, oh, it's going to be that, oh, it's a cover for this, oh, this is going to happen, oh, that's going to happen, oh, there's all these national emergencies, and oh, another great one that I heard was there was all these terrorist alerts, because since people were going to be gathering in large numbers in public, that these terror cells were going to be activated to kill people. And none of this stuff. Now, could some of this stuff had happened, like a terrorist? Sure. But there's all this conspiratardia stuff. And this is, we talk about that William Casey quote, we know that our disinformation program is working when everything that Americans believe is a lie. And that's what's predicated upon a lot of this misinfo, disinfo, reconstructionist history, is that when stuff happens, one, they always predicate it by a lot of hype and misdirection and a ton of disinfo dump. And then secondly, after it happens, then they revise it. And, that's why when we did a podcast on the red heifer, I thought that was really good. A lot of people appreciated that. If you want to go back and listen to that, I said it could be a problem in the title. The reason I said it could be a problem is if they actually pull the trigger when they're supposed to this month, there's a really good chance that they won't do that. There's a chance that they'll never do it. Y'all, they've been talking about rebuilding the supposed temple for hundreds of years. And oh boy, they got this red heifer supposedly, and whatever. But it might not happen. There's a greater percentage there's a greater percentage that it won't happen than that it will happen. So I thought this was like a really good topic to kind of discuss and
Mhm.
talk about, because when it comes to current events, and what I thought we could talk about is, we all got to hang out together as a family
Yeah.
and watch the eclipse. And it
I
was,
I didn't think it was gonna be as cool as it actually was. I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, it's eclipse, big deal." I was comparing it to the last eclipse I saw, and that was only a partial eclipse. This was I mean, we saw it on the back porch. It was kinda insane because I looked at the clock and I was like, "Wow, we actually" it felt like 30 minutes, but we actually watched this thing for 2 hours as a family on our property. Our property's right in line, you know,
yeah,
um, with it, so we saw it bang on, and it was insane, and just the confusion of the animals
it
too,
was so
it
wild.
was so insane. So, watching it absolutely go dark, pretty much totally dark, which was crazy, just dark, and then when it started to peak out, all the morning birds started singing, the roosters started crowing,
The tree frogs
tree frogs started
and the
going
and the
off.
crickets,
Yeah,
yeah.
they started cricketing when it went
When it went
dark.
dark, the tree frogs started chirping and the crickets
They
started
were
cricketing,
so
and you're just like,
confused. They were so
"Whoa, that's so
confused. I'm
crazy."
like,
I mean, instantaneously.
yeah,
It
it
was
was
so weird.
nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a really cool thing to capture and was able to get a lot of great video of it, lots of good photos of it. I was able to actually put the cover of your glasses over top of my camera on my phone, and then I was able to take some really good photos of it. And even with the actually having a little bit of cloud cover, just some rolling clouds, you were actually able to look at the eclipse when it was in a thick cloud, actually, because it would protect your eyes enough.
And
It
this,
was really neat to look at.
I had taken the day off
Mhm.
to just look at the eclipse,
Yeah.
and because it's so fascinating to me, and just for, not that we need to go in depth about all these different cosmology, whether I'm geocentric.
Mhm.
We did a podcast on geocentricity. We had Dr. Philip Stott on, and he talked about it. And geocentric is not saying that the Earth is flat or anything. It's just saying that the Earth is
In the center
stationary and in the center of
of creation.
creation,
Yep.
because
God's
it's the
creation.
focus of creation.
Yep.
Um, and when it comes to solar eclipses and lunar eclipses,
Mhm.
there are a lot of very observable things that aren't normally observable.
Mhm.
And the most fascinating thing about an eclipse, and certainly a solar eclipse, there was actually a large book written on this called The Privileged Planet. It was written by, I think the guy was an astrophysicist, and he was an atheist. And then by studying this and experiencing a solar eclipse, what he observed is that the size and the distance
Mhm.
of the Earth, the moon, and
Mm.
the sun. Now we can all argue about how big they are, how
Sure.
far away they are.
Blah,
It's
blah, blah.
all completely, absolutely, totally irrelevant
Yeah.
when it comes to the fact of
Oh,
you
that part is that is not
it's a statistical
yeah,
impossibility, like in the factors of trillions,
yeah.
that
To say that that's all from a big bang,
it's absolute impossibility
is
that
just
a person can stand on the surface of
mm,
the earth, whatever shape you think it is, right?
yeah, whatever.
And you can stare up at the sun.
And the moon is perfectly spaced between the sun and us that it will perfectly cover up the sun, leaving just a little tiny halo of light around it.
And what's even more
Like, that's
fascinating,
insane.
like I've watched maybe like 3 or 4 eclipses now, maybe in my lifetime.
Mhm.
I remember I remember a total eclipse on the East Coast when I was young. was probably 9 or 10, maybe a little bit younger or older than that. I don't quite remember. I remember 17. I was at work when you
Yep.
guys were, and then
That was
this
just
time.
partial.
So maybe I've seen 2 or 3. I've definitely seen 3. I know that.
Okay. Gotcha.
And regardless of whatever shape you think the earth is, the fact that you can stand here on this earth and you look up at that, and the moon is absolutely the exact right size to block out the sun. And here's what's even more fascinating.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen it, there's always been mild cloud cover, and that cloud cover. So, okay, a couple hundred years ago, maybe they did, and they probably did have the technology to know how to shield out some of the UV lighting so you could actually like really observe it.
Yeah.
They probably did have that tech. I bet you maybe even a couple thousands of years ago they had that tech.
Sure.
I don't know. But here's what's wild is God will allow translucent cloud cover to pass through that, and you can observe it without stuff on your eyes. So that's even more fascinating.
Because that's what I was actually thinking. I was talking to to the boys about this, my brothers, and I didn't think about that at first, actually. But yeah, that's totally true, because I was like, wow, I'm like, not that long ago, these little plastic, lenses and stuff weren't invented, and not everybody and their grandmother could have these for free, like given out, and you just look up with this, couple cent piece and you can observe it. But it was kind of incredible because I was like, oh, well, maybe nobody was able to really witness it. But now, yeah, but that makes total sense with the cloud cover. That was the most incredible. That was one of the coolest parts of the eclipse while it was happening, was the couple clouds that would pass by, and
you could watch it with your naked eye.
actually watch it with your naked eye.
Yeah,
and
we
that
were
was insane.
able to barely see some solar flares.
Yeah.
Another guy in Erie, Pennsylvania caught the solar flare.
Well, that was the craziest thing. So I'm filming it, right? 30x zooming in on it. And I'm like, Dad, there's a permanent red dot coming from the bottom of it. And then it perfectly lined up with the guy's video of that solar flare. There was a big old solar flare happening the whole time when it went into full eclipse. But it's
and none of it was a NASA psyop. It happens regularly. None of it is a sign from God. It's not a blood moon. You have Jonathan Conman. He's supposedly some messianic something or other. And then you have John, the heretic Hagee, and they say all this dumb stuff to sell their fake books about all this false prophecy.
Look, NASA couldn't, if they wanted to, they couldn't make that happen.
Yeah, of course not.
No, because that is such a God thing.
Yeah, NASA
he moves the stinking moon in front of the sun for everybody in that area, and even around it. Even if you weren't really in the area, you could still see the partial eclipse.
I find it really challenging if you're not a Christian and you have like a Gnostic or atheistic worldview, or even and there's lots of Christians that supposedly believe in evolution, and they say macro, micro, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely unbiblical. Then if you just even look at the histrionics of it, and Huxley and Darwin and eugenics and all that stuff, but everybody wants to always flush that.
It's so much more simpler just to believe in God.
Well, when you observe, when you can observe an event like that, that, and this goes back into these signs and wonders, right? Now, here's a natural occurring created event that's created exclusively to be observed by us. And interestingly and ironically enough, even the rest of creation responds to it. Which is hilarious. I mean, and to experience that part too, and then to have because of the micro ecosystem that we've built, and we have all these, y'all, if you go out here at night at 8 o'clock, the tree frog chorus is crazy. There are animals.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then
it's
when in the morning,
wild.
just the morning birds and everything like
Yeah,
that. It's insane.
and then all the roosters crowing when the sun came back out.
I
I mean,
know.
it's so
And the morning
fascinating.
birds and
But
everything.
what it does is it puts the focus on this event, and the
Yep.
focus is God, the creator. It's not like doomsday, it's not like all this other stupid stuff.
Yeah.
The sign of the prophet Jonas was
Yeah.
Christ dying, being buried for 3 days, and rising again. That sign has already happened. It's not going to happen again. And as a New Testament Christian, you really should stop looking for signs and wonders. It says, there will be no sign given to you. That sign was given. That was it. And really, honestly, that sign was for the Jews. We all benefited from it. And the Jews seek after a sign. And, and then that could bleed back into our red heifer. I don't want to get on that topic. That's a whole totally other thing that's very interesting. And it's a very, very deep topic that I continue to discuss with others and talk about. And there's lots of neat stuff. Something I read this week on that about Ashkenaz, and who is the descendants are the Ashkenazis, and Ashkenaz was from Japheth, so he wasn't even a Shemite, so he's not even a Semite. So you have all this anti-Semitism stuff, and they're not even
Interesting.
They're not even Shemites. So there's lots of interesting stuff. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, the eclipse was just such an incredible experience, and it was so glorifying to God. And all the conspiratorial stuff aside, and look, the deep state is absolutely real. The
Definitely.
intelligence industrial product is tracking us, packing us,
Chemtrails are real.
Chemtrails are
this
real.
is weird. Okay. 0 chemtrails during the whole entire eclipse. Okay. And that's rare for Texas because it's like perpetual chemtrail out here, right? The second, I'm no joke. The second the eclipse
that's true.
ends, right? It's the sun starts peeking out again, right? Like maybe a quarter of the way exposed, right? Boom. Coming out of I think it goes out of the west.
Here he comes.
Boom. Chemtrail.
I'm like cockroaches, yeah.
I'm like,
thanks.
What? Hey. Oh my goodness. They couldn't even wait for the fully end, man. So it was crazy.
What they do. That's what they do.
Yeah. So
but do you on the main topic, do you have anything else that you want to
I mean, I think there's a lot of people that were trying to get distracted by something, or wanted something to happen,
Oh, and that's another great point. Like, oh, this is just a distraction. The eclipse, no, it's not. This happens every 80, this stuff happens, like it's going to happen again in Texas, I think in 150 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But this happens regularly on the lunar cycle.
Yeah.
Like, and it can be predicted, and they predicted 2024 in the 70s, and it was like in the newspaper. So this is very predictable.
Well, that proved all their predictions right, because it literally happened precisely at the time that they were saying it was going to happen too.
Like, the only weird thing
is where they changed
the
week
before.
Well, that was
a
little bit weird.
Which was a little bit weird.
They did change that. Yeah.
How does that happen? Like, this
which I saw a couple articles where they said, like, it was like last second. They were like, oh yeah, it kind of changed courses. I'm like, how could it change courses? What do you mean? Like, how does that work? Oh my goodness.
So yeah, very, very strange. But yeah, don't be manipulated. Don't be gullible. Don't jump on the first thing. And
because I think there are some conspiracy theorists out there that just want the next thing.
Yeah, they want like everything
believe in,
and they want everything to be a conspiracy, and they want everything to be a red flag. They want everything to be controlled opposition, COINTELPRO, and all this stuff. And I'm not denying that a lot of it isn't. A lot of it is.
A lot of it is. But yeah.
But stuff that still happens. God said
this is a very natural thing that's happening. It's not like a boat crashing into a bridge. Okay.
Right.
There's several different components happening there. The only being in charge is God in this whole eclipse deal. Okay.
Mhm.
Nobody else is controlling this. Okay. When it comes to a boat crashing to a bridge, there is a lot of factors
A lot of
playing
moving
into,
parts.
there's a lot of moving parts. And okay, I could get on board with a couple conspiracies on there. Okay. I get that. But when it comes to the eclipse, it's a total God thing. So I think we're on the all clear here for the eclipse.
Yeah, so that was the main topic. I thought it was pertinent, relevant, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that we could actually record it in a timely fashion so that
There
it
you
was
go.
relevant, because I thought that this
A little bit.
um
A little bit belated, but
and in closing, I wanted to do a viewer mail. We got a response from, I don't remember the name, but I did an interview with Charlie from Yanasa TV, from Yanasa Ranch,
Mhm.
and he was talking about homeschooling, and they
Okay.
homeschool their kids, and I was
Awesome.
encouraging him, and I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And somebody made the comment about how, like, all the homeschool kids they've ever met, and they've met hundreds,
Wow.
they're all like weird and maladapted,
Mhm.
and uh not not functional in
So
society.
you know why, right?
Why?
So I have met mm, a lot, I'll say that, possibly hundreds of homeschooled kids. Okay. And I would actually agree with that statement. There is a lot of homeschool kids that are in these very synthetic environments, and they are really goofy and they're
Hmm.
really weird.
Hmm.
And that's why I don't go to homeschool groups. And the couple times that I did, I was like, this is so weird. These kids they're want to be public schoolers. Like they want to be public schoolers, but they're not, you know, it's really weird. I think it's because the majority of them that go to these homeschool groups that you meet are in suburbia and they live a very synthetic life.
Yep.
Also, a lot of these homeschoolers have broken homes too.
Mm.
You have to understand that part too. Even if the mom stays at home, kind of
Yeah, and it's
the roles can be
yeah, and
goofy.
their home's broken
Yeah,
because 80 to 90% of all homes are
yeah.
broken. So it's not because
Sadly.
they're homeschoolers. I just wanted to make
No,
that
no, no, no,
distinction.
no, no.
Yeah.
And personally, the few that I have met of homeschoolers that are real deal homeschoolers, but when they are in a country environment and they're on a farm and they're farm kids and they got farm smarts more than homeschool smarts, more than book smarts, because at the end of the day, book smarts are great, but at the end of the day, it's all about life experience,
Hmm.
and getting out there, getting your hands dirty, try, fail, adjust, pick yourself up after you fail, or you mess up, you order the wrong color of sheet metal, you
Uh-oh.
know,
Somebody did that.
or you're up on a ladder fully extended
Oh
with a
boy.
sawzall and then it backfires on you and then you have to quick become Ninja Doug and spin around and catch yourself or you are going to go ahead and break your leg again.
Ninja Doug reference.
Ninja Doug.
Shout out to
So
Ninja Doug.
Ninja Doug. So anyway, you know, I would agree with that fact. There is a lot of goofy homeschoolers out there. So I totally understand where that person, if you went to a homeschooling group and you're like, whoa, I would not want my kids to be like that.
Yeah, and
So,
here's my point.
but I definitely wouldn't want that to be a turnoff for
Right, and
you.
here's my
Yeah.
point. How many maladjusted government school kids are there? They have entire
Yeah,
classrooms
definitely.
with kids that can't function in society, in the
Sure.
sense of you can't put them in an air quotes normal
Sure.
government school classroom
Sure.
because they're not socially adjusted to be able to function in it, right?
Hmm.
And look,
Yeah.
and then and this isn't we're not talking about special needs or
No,
anything like
no,
that. There,
no.
that's a totally different story and ball game.
Hmm.
But I'm just talking about, I'm talking about No Child Left Behind. I'm
Sure.
talking about kids that get out of high school and can't even read. And you're going to say,
Sure.
oh, I ain't going to homeschool my kid because every homeschool I met's a weirdo. Well, yeah, but I mean, is the government school doing a better job creating a better
No,
product? No.
absolutely not. Even if your you know, you homeschool your kid and your kid is kind of that weirdo. When he gets out and he gets some dirt under his fingernails and gets, you know, starts working a job or starts his own company up, he's going to learn real quick. And you know, there's a lot of character building when it comes to taking on responsibilities. So I think there's a lot of homeschoolers out there that are a little bit weird and introverted. There's a lot of introverts
because they really are sheltered.
Yeah.
And they are prevented
and
from
they
doing
don't know who
dangerous
they want to
things.
be yet,
Sure.
you know, and they're trying to find themselves, you know. So there's a lot of that too. So you have to have a lot of grace with them.
Yeah, and they're
know.
trying to find themselves in a synthetic suburbia, in a concrete jungle.
Yep.
Where
And
their
their
only
parent-
outlets
Yep.
are video games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have a
And
lot of that too. That really messes a lot of homeschool kids up, is the video games.
makes them idiots.
When there's nothing else to do. You know, I'm not saying all video games are terrible or whatever. I'm just saying when that's when that's the only thing they can do to like give them dopamine and enjoyment and fulfillment in life. Yeah. It's not a good thing. It's not a healthy thing.
It's a replacement for achievement.
When they go into their backyard, I've personally experienced this, and they're like, let's pretend to make a fire. I'm like, no, let's get sticks and actually make a fire. Let's not pretend to make a fire. Let's go make a fire, you know, because that would always drive me insane.
That's dangerous.
So, but yeah, definitely. If you are homeschooling your kids, that is definitely the first step. You know, you made the first step. That's the hardest decision right there.
And post Rona, I mean, for one, there for a while, everybody was homeschooling their kids. I mean, now, exponentially more people.
And the public school made it incredibly difficult on all of the public school kids that had to wink, wink homeschool because they wanted them to get back into the public schools. So they made their lives miserable. I personally had a cousin, and she came down on a vacation, and they made her life
sit at a laptop
absolutely hectic. Okay.
Yeah, miserable.
She would straight up be on the computer from 5 o'clock in the morning till midnight. And she had to do all this type of assignments on Sunday, and absolutely horrendous. And of course, these kids are itching to go back to
government school,
the normal school, you know, because who the heck wants to do all this work? And it's so stupid. And I get so frustrated because my homeschooling was never that hard, you know, 2.5, you know, 1.5 hours every day, you know, and it was so much easier than all this 8 hours of schoolwork plus homework after that. It's so stupid, so dumb. But anyway, rant over.
Yeah, so that's a little viewer mail. I wanted to respond to that comment.
Definitely.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good subject to talk on. As we close out, are there any parting thoughts, anything that you want to interject, Matt? Anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I would just say not to get so doomsday. Like the world's definitely going to hell one way or another
very quickly.
But yeah, you definitely still have to find the silver linings in life. Like, you know, when you're outside, you know, mowing the grass or you're with your animals or your critters, or, you know, if you are working your dream job or you own your own business, you know, and of course you're going to have bad days and good days, but just being able to, in the good times, you know, be able to remember them and kind of relish in them, you know, because there are harder days to come, you know, so definitely not just don't be on the doomsday bus, you know, all the time.
Yeah, you know, we're supposed to count it all joy when we fall into diverse temptations, and, you know, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. You know, we have to work on our mindset, and we have to honor and glorify God. The sole aim of man is to glorify God. And, you know, you can't do that with a doomsday mindset. You can't do that, you know, and it's, we prepare. Yeah, we're aware. We pay attention to our surroundings. We pay attention to the news. It's very important to know trends and different things so that you can prepare, so that you can put yourself in an advantage position, whether it's in business or whether it's currency or whether you're saving. I mean, there's so many important reasons.
Or scammers.
to stay up on this stuff, or if somebody's trying to scam you, right?
Internet scam.
It's really good to be aware of these things so that you're not naive to different things,
Definitely.
you're not ignorant to different things, but in a very real, general sense and way, you need to get from the day. You know what I mean? It was Jim Rohney's like, don't get through the day. It's not about just getting through the day and then, oh, I get to go to bed and then do it all over again and get through the day. But get from the day. What are you taking from the day?
That's a good one.
If you're redeeming the time, what are you getting for what are you putting into your future? What are you investing?
That 1%.
Yeah. What are you
day.
What's going forward? What's going to make tomorrow better than today? And look, and this goes to Matt's point, like they, them, and those that won't leave you alone, and all those guys, and
the guys that no matter who you vote in, it will not change them.
Right. Those guys, all that stuff, that beat goes on.
Yeah. That will
and that
always
stuff
go on.
will continue. And there's that struggle between good and evil. And there's the prince and the power of the air that has current dominion. Unfortunately, he's not bound to all my post-millennial friends, but I'm still trying to figure that one out. But anyway, but that's all the more reason why you have to look on the bright side.
Definitely. Yep.
And that's why we like to joke, and that's why we, poke fun at stuff, and that's why we like to laugh, and that's what we do.
Yep.
And because life,
that's how you cope.
Life is a vapor.
You cope with
and
life.
They, them, and those are going to do what they do. But you know what? We're going to do what we do. We're going to enjoy life to our greatest ability, and we're going to plan ahead, and we're going to plant a tree, and we're going to watch it grow, and we're going to watch fruit set on that tree. Dude, that's an achievement, And here's what's awesome. God has the hard part of all that. The seed, the soil, the sun. I'm quoting Jim Rohn again, but the purpose of the seed is the soil and the sunshine and the rain. What's the purpose? To see what you can make of it. But God has the hard part. Planting that tree isn't the hard part, but making it fruitful, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
And that God does all that. So that's the beauty of it. And that's why the eclipse is there, because God does all that. We can't do anything to it. We couldn't do anything to stop it. NASA can sound repercussive missiles at the sun, and
it ain't gonna stop it.
Do whatever they're doing. Whatever they were doing has everything to do with weather as a weapon, as a force multiplier. It has to do with manipulate, and all that. Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah. But I mean, it's happening. I'm not going to deny that it's happening. I'm not going to deny that chemtrails are real. Just because my normalcy bias, and I would be too scared to think of the fact that they were really doing that, even though they've been doing it for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
But that's all, y'all. I hope this is an encouragement to y'all. This is a value for value proposition. If you love what we do, go on over to TheTexasBoys.com. We've been getting a lot of people buying a lot of native products, native mud, and 3 mushroom, 7 mushroom coffee, CBD coffee, and tons of honey. We love and appreciate y'all. We thank you for the support.
Yep.
And I guess we'll see y'all on the next podcast.
We'll see y'all later.
Remember, y'all, stay fearless, my friends.